The Nuzlocke, a more difficult way to play Pokemon games, wherein the player can only capture the first encounter on each route. If a Pokemon faints, it is dead forever, and every Pokemon must be nicknamed in order for their eventual death to cause maximum emotional damage. Personally, I've only done 2 Nuzlockes in my lifetime, one in Black 2 and one in Sword on normal hardware, both of which I beat without much trouble. So I wanted to up the difficulty a bit by completing a randomized Nuzlocke. There's a particular variant of such a Nuzlocke that is quite popular nowadays, known as the Soul Link, a 2 or more player Nuzlocke in which each person follows the standard rules, but with a catch. Every encounter is tied to the other player's Pokemon, and if either of those Pokemon dies, the other player's does too. Their life ended by a broken heart. There are some optional rules we opted to enable as well, but that's the most important info to be aware of before our adventure begins. In standard Pokemon fashion, we are introduced to the region's professor and name our characters, entering the world to find we are trapped in the back of a moving vehicle. Exiting the vehicle, our mother greets us. Wait, if our mom was in the house, who was driving the truck? She informs us that this is our new town, and we're told to go upstairs where the clock our dad bought us is located. Maybe he was driving the truck. But then why didn't he come inside? Yeah, we'll never know. We don't bother setting the real time, who even uses analog clocks anymore, and check our PCs. We randomized most of the items that we'll find, and while I don't believe we used either of these, they exist. Our mom recommends we meet our neighbors, so we travel next door. The neighbor's mom welcomes us, and we wander upstairs to a complete stranger's bedroom. Don't do this in real life, kids. Depending on your gender choice, your neighbor is either May or Brendan. They tell us to leave, and away we go. Upon exiting town, we spot Birch being chased by a Pokemon. He pleads for our assistance, asking we use the Pokeball in his bag. Here, the fun part begins. One of our optional rules, no primary overlaps, states that each player's party must contain unique primary typings. So as Shellder and Magikarp are both primarily water type, they aren't a valid soul pair for this challenge. My options are honestly not that great, while Deve has the special defensive wall Blissey as a fantastic option. I settle on Golduck as it is fully evolved, and instantly am rewarded for my choice. Our first battle down, Birch leads us to his lab, where we are permitted to keep Chance, who gets poisoned the very next fight. Poison does out-of-battle damage in Emerald, and can cause fainting if not healed. Thankfully, Chance has plenty of health, so not a big deal at the moment. Some light grinding later, the first rival fight ensues. Their Watermons faint very quickly to our high-powered special moves. Back at the lab, we receive our first Pokeballs, allowing the real challenge to start. Our first encounter we can't even use, as Gorbis is water type. There were so many other things in my grass, I really had to get the one we can't use. Our Route 103 encounter doesn't start much better. Both are primary water, so one of us gets to re-roll until we find a type other than water. As Quagsire has one of the best typings available in Gen 3, I re-rolled the Lantern, getting the pseudo-legendary Salamence instead. We both have a quad weakness, but this pair is absolutely power. Salasire will be a lot stronger offensively than Chance, so we mutually decide that swapping our starter out is the best play. The only problem? They are really low level, and as every pair has a water type, we can't switch train it up. They have to fight on their own right now. A few dozen battles later, we realize the next route encounter will also need to be trained once caught, so head to Route 102. God, this pair would have been amazing. Despite setting the randomizer to have a 10% minimum catch rate on all encounters, Jirachi evaded 11 Pokeballs, making this our first forfeited encounter. I wish I could say there aren't many more, but we'll get to that. Stuck with only Salasire, the grind continues, during which Salamence almost dies. Twice. My battle luck is so bad. An hour into the playthrough, we finally face the first wild trainer battle, which is easily swept by our level 11s. Deve is poor, so rather than skip the trainers, we take them out for that sweet, sweet poke. Waterspout and Magnitude make easy work of all the trainers' Pokemon, allowing us to safely reach Puddleberg. Our dad works at the gym here, so we pay him a visit. He asks that we assist a green-haired boy Wally with catching his first Pokemon. Under our supervision, he captures a Pokemon we never see again. Gotta love randomizers. Attempting to skip town, we encounter a man in glasses who we'll be seeing a lot of through this journey. Fighting the trainers on 104 gives enough cash to stock up on balls before our next encounter, which is actually a usable bear, as Spiel is primary ice type. Fiarain joins the active party. Venturing into Puddleberg Woods, we befriend Snack and run into a lad that almost gets mugged by a Team Aqua grunt. Lucky for him, we battle everyone on site and send the thief packing. Making our way through the woods, Deve picks up leftovers, which is extremely good for his already bulky Quagsire. Meanwhile, I continue to struggle along, fighting a Swablu Ice Elements literally cannot hit, nearly losing Fiarain to its Comet Punches. Arriving in Rustboro, we immediately challenge the first gym, wherein my awful luck strikes hard. My Roxanne has an Iron Defense Lapras with Leaf Blade, a Blizzard Primeape that also crit and poisoned with Poison Fang, and destroyed poor Snack with Sacred Fire. Our first casualty of the playthrough. Salasire cleans up with Shadow Ball. Meanwhile, Deve's Roxanne fight was whittled away by his Salasire. I nearly forgot Fiarain was poisoned after that battle. Luckily I had a heal powder, or that'd have been 2 deaths to Gym 1. We grab HM01 Cut and find a man that'll trade Ralts for Groudon. Say what? We had decided ahead of this scenario that if the randomizer gave us the wild Pokemon that the NPC asked for, we were allowed to go catch it for the trade. If both of us can complete the trade, those gift Pokemon become a pair. If only one of us can, then that Pokemon becomes a wild card, capable of being slotted into a soul pair in place of the regular Nuzlocke encounter. Deve does have Ralts in the wild, so he gets Dots the Groudon, which will chill in the box. We lose our next encounter for reasons, and add thorns to the box after throwing 23 Pokeballs at it. An Aquacrunt is holding some old dude's bird hostage, so we beat his weak Pokemon, rescuing the bird, along with the Devon goods he had nabbed earlier. Returning the goods, we are rewarded with the Pokenav, and tasked with delivering a letter to Steven in Dewford. It's along our path anyhow, so we agree and off we go, running into our rival for a battle. Deve faces his other half, while Linoon forfeits the fight, giving Salasire a free level up and granting our already powerful pseudo Stab Aerial Ace. Shockingly, May gives Deve a bit of trouble, nearly fainting Fiarain with a critical Metal Claw. Having both survived, we make our way southward to Mr. Briny's home, who will sail us to Dewford, where Gym 2 and Steven await us. A friendly fisherman gives us the Old Rod, meaning more encounters. We reel in Smoker and Mudshroom, along with Golmew and Granite Cave, which I'll later realize is a dupe. I seriously forgot what my starter was. Sorry, Chance. This hiker gives us Flash, which we can't use without the second badge, so time to brawl. Deve had a small scare from Lord Helix, but otherwise the gym trainers were easy pickings. Leader Brawly also fell without much fuss. With the ability to see in the darkness, we managed to find Steven, who gives us similar TMs. A quick sprint to Rustboro gets us the EXP share before continuing onwards to Slateport. Which, honest question, why are so many of these kids hidden? It's like the Duber minefield out here. We take a quick shopping break where I do something very dumb, then continue the storyline at the shipyard. Captain Stern is in the museum, where Team Aqua appears to be taking a group tour. Cute. Of course, they attempt to mug him upon us completing our mission, which goes how you'd expect. Scott, Mr. Shades from before, gives us his number for beating up Team Aqua. Heading north, Wormy joins the box. We also register Bridge in our Pokenavs, and proceed to have our second death. Fiarain falls to a random Fisher's Mirror Cove. Re-evaluating the team, I finally notice the dupe and return to Granite Cave to replace Golduck. Darkness is now a pair we can add to our party. We decide to do the first trick house puzzle before heading into another rival fight, in which Deve gets hacked hard, being frozen for 15 consecutive turns. That is absolutely ridiculous. Everyone survives the battle, and we continue to Mauville where Wally wishes to challenge the gym. His uncle thinks he's pushing himself too hard, so Wally asks us to fight him as a pre-gym trial. Not your brightest idea, kiddo. They set off to Verdanturf, whilst Deve and I take a field trip to Slateport Smart for some harbor mail to access gambling. And proceed to crash my game. Don't gamble, kids. Anyways, we opt to follow Wally to Verdanturf, picking up Frostung and exploring the opposite end of Rusturf Tunnel with possibly the best pickup I could have gotten. Deve wanted to drop a couple mons in the daycare to level up as we travel, so Chance and Abyss get to play with the old people while we challenge Mauville Gym. Leader Watson wields both a Rayquaza and a Mewtwo, neither of which are a match for the power of Salasire. The Dynamo badge is ours, allowing the use of Rock Smash outside of battle. Heading north, we decide to take on the Windstrait House, where Deve predicts we'll fight Lugias. It wasn't entirely wrong. We pick up a few new buddies that are not allowed at this time, spotting some suspicious gents in red, who mentions something about a meteorite in Fall Arbor. Guess that's where we'll head next. Oh hey, there's Lugia, and another unusable pair. Awesome. Nothing is actually happening in Fall Arbor, so we continue along the west side of Hoenn, finding even more water types, because of course we would. Eventually reaching Meteor Falls, we throw Rotund in the PC and meet up with Team Magma, who've retrieved the aforementioned meteorite. The Magma Grunt wants to tussle, but is interrupted by a familiar face. Archie thinks we are odd kids, which honestly is fair at this point. He decides he's going to Mount Chimney to stop Magma's plans, exiting towards Fall Arbor. Our team opts to take the scenic route, heading back through Rusturf Tunnel, where a cute couple gives us strength. After a long trek, we ascend Mount Chimney via cable car, stumbling into an all-out Poochyena war zone. Making our way around the volcano's crater brings us to the leader of Team Magma, Maxie. Salasire had a small scare from a magical leaf Delcatty, but otherwise a few shadow balls and water spouts brought down the big man. Archie thanks us for the help before skedaddling. I'm confident we'll spot him again. We yoink the meteorite and continue back down Mount Chimney on foot, where an elderly woman offers us cookies, which Deve goes crazy over. Complete status healing for $200? It's a bargain, I'll give him that. Dear Dog joins the ever-expanding group of unusual pairings as we make our way to Lava Ridge. We're given mysterious eggs, which take forever to hatch into. Go figure. At the herb shop, Deve discovers his seed is insane. Well, he's never failing an encounter again. Wish I could say the same. Lava Ridge's gym is a geyser puzzle that neither of us know the path of. So many ambushes later, we find Flannery. Not much to say here. Choice Band's elements hit different. Plus, Quagsire resisted basically every typing Deve's reality threw at him, so yeah, easy W. Our rival pops by, and depending on your gender, they're either really sweet or a jerk. You're gonna be 6 feet under after this playthrough, Brendan. Anyways, they hand over the Go Goggles and run off to confront our father. We'll be doing that as well, but first, a side trip to the desert for our fossil encounter. Or not? Turns out Mirage Tower appears randomly on this route. Getting it back just requires leaving and re-entering Route 111, so no big deal. We easily scale the tower, choosing the route fossil, which we don't know where to revive. I figure the fossil maniac will know something, and sure enough, he directs us to Devon Co., where this scientist has created a fossil regenerator. Wait, that's the normal Pokemon. My randomizer actually randomized the root fossil to be Lily. I mean, I'll take it. Meanwhile, Deve receives Trapinch, a pair that is actually allowed in the party finally. Now to face Father, a much more annoying trainer than Flannery. Norman trolls the heck out of Deve with hypnosis, while Sala aerial-aced away on my side. Oh, hi, Lugia! I defeated everything he had for me in the time it took for Deve to beat just this caliber. Swapping to his Sala, the rest of the fight went well. Lava cookies are mighty tasty. Earning the 5th badge and our father's approval, we are immediately abducted by Wally's father. He expresses his gratitude for us looking out for Wally and gives us an HM he swears isn't a bribe. Why would it be one? I'm confused. Regardless, the world now opens up to us as we can freely cross water with Surf and gain a ton of encounters as well. With only a 4-member team, a catching spree seems like the best plan. Our Petalburg encounters are... of all the things it could have been. As heartbreaking as it is, I flee from the legend to instead get Charmander. Okay, another soon-to-be flying... I hate it here. Slateport grants us hotness, while New Mauville... Yeah, I'm so unlucky. While this is an optional area of the game, we do opt to explore it for the items. Well, that's just insulting. In addition to items, pretend Pokeballs are also scattered about. We counted these as statics, therefore allowing them to be caught and used if they form valid pairs. This nabs us Powerhouse, King Cross, and a beautiful 5th member for the squad. Best girl. Heading to Surf Routes, picks up Despair, Mr. Fetch, and our 6th party member, Utter Ham. Finally a full team. While on this little adventure, I also hatch another egg. Remember how we dropped off our starter and Abyss with the old people? Well, they were compatible to breed on my end. Their child isn't randomized, so Surprise gets to sit in a solitary box for the rest of eternity. A quick look about the abandoned ship nearly kills Smoker. Let's get our encounter and get out of here. Sky King is the final pickup before we can continue our journey. Yet another unusable pair. But hey, if a tragedy should befall Salasire, at least we have a successor now. That doesn't mean try to off him now.
Don't kill him. Don't kill him.
Who's
Please don't kill him. Please don't kill him. We might lose Salazar if this kills that.
Did he Destiny Bond?
Yeah.
Okay, he lived.
Oh no.
He dies this smoker though. It's fine. Things are fine. Moving on. East of Mauville, we nab Serton, who immediately replaces Butter Ham. On the opposite shore, we are gifted a good rod and meet up with Steven once again. He asked a philosophical question before wandering off. I think we use what the universe gives us, as disappointing as they may be. Using the acrobike to hippity-hop over these ledges, I find a miracle seed for Lily. There's a massive storm on this route, an omen of what is about to unfold. Rain boosts water-type moves in battle, a fact that seals Smoker's fate. The first major loss for our team at the hands of Rayquaza itself. Our boy is replaced by the exact same type combo, except this time Deve has a more powerful Pokemon. My Lily evolves as Deve patiently awaits me at the entrance to the Weather Institute. Or maybe not so patiently. Kicking Team Aqua out gives us a gift pair, which is somehow 2 of our favorite Pokemon. They live in the PC. Outside, we meet our rivals once more. One swift defeat, and they hand over the Fly HM, advising us to defeat Fortree Gym in order to use it. There's a mysterious entity blocking the path, so first we'll need to venture further along. No pair for this route, we don't talk about why. Spotting Steven on a bridge where more unseen obstacles lurk, he reveals one to us, wishing to see our battling prowess. We didn't exactly fight them, yet he says our style is intriguing. Yes, the Master Ball style, and cower behind a Pokemon while chucking balls style. Riveting. He hands us the Devonscope and flies away. Sun joins the Firegrass Brigade on the way into the Scorched Slab, a small cave with a TM and no encounter table. Although this be a cool spot for a picnic, it's very chill. The remaining Kecleon are identical to Sun, so bye-bye. Time to send Winona's Pokemon to the farm in the sky. It's Deve's turn to evolve Lily while continuing towards Lily Cove. Along the way, I finally capture a legendary Pokemon. Neither of us wish to part with Best Girl, so in the box it goes. We'll worry about that later. For now, we get rejected from the Safari Zone for not owning a Pokéblock case. As messed up as it is, they won't allow us to enter, so off to Lilycove's contest hall for the case. Might as well blend a couple blocks while we're here. Moving on. A quick shopping trip reveals randomized full restores for myself, and what for the luckiest man I know? Experience shares. So not only did he get the money item and instant captures, he can now train his whole team at once. I'm not jealous. Nope. Safari time. Be honest. Are we surprised? It wasn't usable, but still. Story progress requires following those grunts from earlier, so off to Mount Pyre we go, adding Tea Tree and Hairy Tail to the rank. At Mount Pyre's peak, Archie exclaims that he now has the red orb, whatever that is. His team leaves the mountain, while we are informed that the object he took is part of a pair. The blue orb had been taken previously by Team Magma. We're gifted the Magma emblem, which will be useful later. For now, some experience grinding on Mount Pyre's trainers, during which I capture a Ralts to finally give Dot a partner, while Deve picks up a TM for his favorite move. Backtracking to Mount Chimney, we are able to use the Magma emblem to gain access to a hidden area, where strength puzzles, spin, and a slumbering giant lurk. We witness Groudon's awakening and its immediate departure via super jump. A stunned Maxie blames us for his inability to captivate Groudon, initiating a battle he can't handle. And away he goes to chase down the love of his life. Attempting to escape the hideout doesn't go too well. I can use Dig. Why am I walking? Making our way to Lily Cove, we nab our surf encounter and get a tip that Archie is causing trouble in Sleepport. A quick flight over, we spot a crime in progress. I don't know about you, but that seems like an invitation to me. Aqua's hideout is a lot more high-tech than Magma's, with one particularly interesting puzzle whose solution is just like NASCAR. Turn left, go fast, go fast. Knocking out the grunts, we make it to where the submarine is hidden, only for it to take off again. Time to search the whole ocean, I guess. Right side, new routes mean more encounters. By this point, Deve wants to be done with this challenge, which is leading to careless errors, like not realizing Mushu is a dupe, which, to be fair, I didn't notice either until editing. Running from our Moss Deep encounter though, that one's all on him. There is a giant space center on this island, which is under threat of being robbed by Team Magma. Inside, we find a familiar face. He assures us he's watching out, so we can go check out the town. Guess we need another badge to unlock the Theft Arc. Off to Gym 7 then. Nothing really to note about this battle, there weren't any really threatening mons on either team. Making our way back towards the space center reveals a squadron of magma grunts heading over. Sure enough, they held up their threat of stealing the rocket fuel, which feels like a weird thing to want to steal. Why do they want it exactly? Oh my god, you're insane! To stop this crazy plan, Steven enlists our help in a double battle, a battle that was not without serious cost. Maxie realizes the error of his ways, abandoning the heist and departing, much to Steven's relief. He invites us to his home, which we completely ignore as replacing Frost is priority 1. This results in us forgetting his invite. Luckily, we knew we need dive to progress, so Deve looked up where you find it. Sometimes dialogue is important. Taking a small detour to Shoal Cave gets us a couple new friends. There's an elderly gentleman that'll craft you a shell bell if you give him 4 shoal shells and 4 shoal salts. Normally, you can obtain one part at high tide and the other part at low tide. However, Deve randomized shoal shells in his Lava Ridge shop. So since we arrived during low tide when shoal salts are available, he was able to create himself his shell bell. I don't recall him actually using it, but it's still a cool little side mission in this game. Continuing through the watery routes around Moss Deep grants an interesting pickup. In a challenge without randomized moves, this would go crazy. We take our first dive down to Sutopolis' entrance, capturing a rather intimidating pair. Much to our dismay, the Zootopolis gym is locked. It appears more underwater areas need exploring, which means a couple new box warmers. They weren't wrong after all. Locating another underwater cave brings us into Seafloor Cavern, with an encounter that makes losing Frost a lot easier. Only one bird left till he completes the trifecta. This cavern is a maze with a push-block puzzle at the end. Finally, something I'm better at than him. Kyogre rests in the next room. Just as Maxie before him, Archie wishes to ruin the legendary's deep slumber. Wielding an insanely strong Ho-Oh, he takes down yet another of Deve's Pokemon. As tragic as that may be, we have no time to mourn, as Kyogre is awakened by the red orb, also fleeing immediately. Archie receives word from panicked Team Aqua members that the rainstorm meant to expand the waters of this world is far more powerful than they had expected. A downpour that Maxie claims will go on for all eternity. The two leaders realize all too late the consequences of their actions, leaving to attempt to control the raging Pokemon. Ah! Even jump scare. How'd you even... Never mind. Yep, world's gonna drown. Answers in Zootopolis. Alright, we'll meet you there. Centered in Zootopolis, the legendaries face off, bringing chaos to nature as the weather cycles between scorching sun and pouring rain. The city's inhabitants stare in awe at their power. Hey, this guy makes a good point. Who's gonna go ask them to just be friends? Nobody? Okay. Having a third of our team below level does not bode well, so it's grinding time, which does not go okay. At all. Not even a little bit. You know, I'm starting to realize the value of hacking in rare candies. Many painful battles later, Deve has a full squad of level 50 Mons, while I'm close enough. So back to Zootopolis for more story. Our presence confirms a desire to get involved, at least according to Steven, who escorts us to the Cave of Origin. Inside, we meet Wallace, the previous leader of Zootopolis Gym. He reveals there was yet a third Pokemon in the past that was capable of making Kyogre and Groudon friendly. Rayquaza. Wallace, we've seen a few of those already. They are anything but friendly. Still, he insists we need to find it to calm the raging titans. Sky Pillar sounds like an important place. Oh, yes, we're geniuses. Hey, where are you going? Take me with you! I feel like we just got cheated somehow. Regardless, it's now our mission to reach Sky Pillar, crossing miles upon miles of waves, until eventually we spot land. And Wallace. Aw, he apologizes. That's nice. Neither of us have the Mach Bike, so if there are broken floors like we've seen before, we won't be able to cross. So we figure the smartest pathing is to pick up our Sky Pillar encounter, unlock Pacificlog's supply point, then return with the Mach Bike. Oh, and spend a while fishing. Not part of the plan, but certainly happened. Scaling Sky Pillar was a lot easier than we expected. Turns out we prepped the Mach Bike for nothing. Well, this time at least. The Lord of Team Sky rests at the summit. Disturbed by our presence, Rayquaza flies off into the distance, presumably towards the feuding legends. Just a theory. Returning to Zootopolis, we witness Father Rayquaza scold the naughty Pokemon. One roar ends the catastrophic feud. A bit anticlimactic. No fighting, no big life lesson, just Rayquaza says red light and they slink into the depths of despair. World saved. Moving on. We could go challenge the gym right now, but if there's one thing everyone should know about my buddy Deve, is he loves legendary Pokemon. With world peace established, a bunch of them are unlocked. They'll be randomized, of course, but that doesn't make them any less legendary. At Mount Pyre's peak, Maxie and Archie return the orbs to their rightful place, proving they aren't truly evil after all. We never did grab our encounter from the route directly below Mount Pyre. Yeah, that seems right. Deve is convinced the Weather Institute should tell us about Kyogre and Groudon now, but they don't. Spoiler, they won't until post-game. The would-be Reggie trio take way too much effort, requiring a Wailord and Relicanth to be captured, which we have neither of. On the bright side, they do exist in the randomizer for us both. However, I really don't want to go on a wild goose chase at the moment. There is a gym to be done. I get your obsession, but the game must go on. Thankfully, Hoenn's gym has no trainers in it, so we are able to challenge him and him alone. As we've come to expect, my fight went rather easily despite Hoenn wielding a Kyogre. Deve's fight, on the other hand, was not nearly as pleasant. He makes some questionable choices leading up to Hoenn's last Pokemon, Lickitung, a Mon-knowing Curse. Now this wouldn't be much of an issue if he had a special move, but thanks to those questionable choices I alluded to, he no longer has a special attack on Quagsire. So instead, the Lickitung lives and curses to its heart's content, eventually mimicking Salisire's Drill Peck, a move with no inherent mischance and physical. So those curses are buffing it like crazy. A critical hit would end Quagsire here, so I advised Deve to swap in my cargo to resist the Drill Peck, and thank God I did. Now, you would think, knowing how much Drill Peck was doing to this thing, knowing that it's maxed out its defense stat, he would go for the special move. We're talking about someone who has played Pokemon for nearly 20 years of their life. Surely he picks questionable choices. He survives. I'm done with this fight. 8 badges, yippee! Back on the water with you. Now we can grab a legendary Pokemon. After some struggles, we stand before the legendary. What could fate have in store? Oh my god. He got all 3. You're actually joking. And I got another Reggie. Say hi to Freeze Flame, our new highest level Pokemon. With the endgame nearly upon us, we decide to clean up the remaining encounters. Doubtful they will ever see combat, but at least then we know all our options. Scaling the waterfall at Evergrande, our semi-final encounter provides a cruel glimpse into our past, spotting both our very first soul death and the reincarnation of Frostung. This is it. Victory Road. The final random encounter. What is my encounter luck now? 3 legendary birds. Huh? Exciting news out of the way, we now face the maze that is Victory Road. I honestly believe that this is the worst Victory Road ever. I'll elaborate after one minor inconvenience. There, handled. The worst Victory Road. First off, they made this Victory Road dark. Now you can argue, you don't have to have flash to get through here, and sure, it is possible. But I want to draw your attention to this floor. Remember, your vision, flashless, is only one space ahead of and behind yourself. Without vision, you cannot know right away that this section is meant to loop back to the start. Not the biggest deal, you are likely to notice the issue pretty quickly. Taking the split path up then leads to ladder 7 with a dead end item, so back down toward 2, which you could have gotten to quicker simply by going right. The lower floor then appears to be a simple layout. Some of the most evil trolls deal in simple things. I got stuck on this floor for far too long, thanks to several paths that create an infinite loop effect. There are 2 ways to get to ladder 4. A dead end area I visited 4 times than I care to admit. With limited visibility, ladder 3 is impossible to see without being on top of it. So just as I did, you'll find 5 first. Now you may be thinking, but there's a ledge there. You can't reach 5. Wrong. The map lies to you. There is no ledge here preventing access. You can go from 5 to 3, back to 5 again to realize something is wrong, wander off once more to 4, get upset, dig out of the cave, and try again. This time with a map to realize that following the outer walls will only lead you along a circle of suffering in the dark, damp prison of Victory Road. Now, I will admit, This is partly my own doing, not bringing Flash to better see all my options. But I believe some blame belongs to the design error of Emerald. Had those ledges actually been there, as they are in Ruby and Sapphire, this would not be a problem. Escaping the nightmare of Victory Road unscathed, we stand before the Pokemon League. Now, I could do a play-by-play of each battle, but then I'd end up showing you each fight twice. Why? Observe the teams we went into the league with, which on the surface appear fine, until you realize this guy isn't ground. Well, at least not primarily. Meaning this team is not valid under our rule set. Now, neither of us used our level 70 member up to this point, but in the first attempt of the Elite Four, I did use Regice. It wasn't until we were looking at our team the following day that we realized our error. Even though Dove says I'm 100% to blame, he didn't notice either, so we're sharing this one. In order to make things right, we decided the most fair thing to do was go through the league again, sans the legendary, as a 5-team versus the Pokemon League. Whatever happens in the second run through, that is our reality. And by God, did it go so much worse than the first time. Deve and I both decided to begin with our strongest members against Sydney, taking out his mons one by one without too much trouble. BB's team required a tad more effort, with Deve finishing her off with a bulked up Tauros, while I chipped away at her Pokemon with lower damage moves. Glacia is where things begin to fall apart. The battle begins just as the others, with Salasire taking down the first couple of Pokemon. Scizor's Spite forces my Sala off the field into Malice. Meanwhile, Deve continues to take down her fairly easy Pokemon, unfortunately triggering a static paralysis. He also brings out Malice, who handily takes down Stantler, leaving her final Pokemon, a Breloom that counters T-Spell's Sludge Bomb, fainting yet another legendary bird. My battle ends with 2 Aerial Aces, while Deve gets revenge with a quad effective fly. Drake's turn, in a 4v5 battle that instantly goes south. This is worst case scenario. Everything we've built from the start centered around Salasire. Of all the places for him to die, this is the most tragic. The heartbreaking part for me is Deve knew Ivysaur was extremely dangerous. They had been on the route he was grinding on. He even lost a member to them before and was well aware that they outspeed him, and yet he stayed in front of it. This loss hurt, but the war wages on. We faint Drake's remaining Pokemon without more losses, leaving 3 Pokemon to face Wallace's full team, all of which are weak to fire on my side. I can nearly guarantee someone on my side will die to Wallace, as had happened before in our alternate reality. With an intense battle ahead, we speak to the champion once again. Deve's plan consists of setting Tauros up to sweep as it has for him twice this Elite Four. My plan? Try to survive. Brownie is 10 levels low. Not very promising to say the least, but he still takes Tauros' moves well. Up until... Kinda ironic its soul partner killed it. 2 steel types against the world. Electrike appears and misses Blast Burn. However, it lives to dig. This is it. Wait, no way! Quick Claw doesn't have an animation before Gen 4, but it was the only way she could outspeed. It saved her from another Blast Burn, defeating the Electrike. No one died to it. It's a miracle. 4 Mons remain. Pupitar is nothing more than a troll, boasting Detect, Barrier, Leech Seed, and Low Kick. This is gonna be a long battle. While I'm fighting for my life, Deve finished his monstrous setup, taking down a few more Pokemon before also being hit with a rock wall. Many turns later, the wall prevails with an Omni-boosted critical hit. At +2, it one-shots Mallet, gaining yet a third Omni-boost, leaving only Best Girl for Deve. Wallace outspeeds, but chooses to lower his accuracy rather than attack. Surf doesn't kill. The dumb rock chooses to Sonic Boom, a set power move that allows her to KO the wall. The odds we survive this are not very high. Dragonair will be a 4-hit KO with Meteor Mash, a move well known to miss in current generations. FYI, it misses more often in Gen 3. Also remember this. Oh boy. Tri-Attack burns Guardy, which actually was helpful. Normal is a physical type, so that burn is really good luck. Let's check in on my side. Back to Deve's footage. Shedskin cures the burn, so paralysis time. Oh, and Pupitar finally gets poisoned. Yippee! Gardevoir gets a turn to move, while the Serpent is immobilized, hitting the 20% chance of an attack buff. As my struggle ends, Deve's begins again, as Wallace full restores Dragonair. One Mach Punch ends the Ice Baby. Arcanine, under other circumstances, would be a huge problem. This one's moves are randomized to be another troll Pokemon, so as annoying as this part of the fight shall be, he's not all that scary. In the meantime, Dragonair is out of Tri-Attack and Super Fang PP, leaving it defenseless. Great news! Except, Dirty is a little blind. Alright. Yeah, that's infuriating. Thankfully, Scratch is a baby move, or this would have ended ages ago. In other news, Strength finally brought down Arcanine, leaving his final Pokemon Magmar. Its Crush Claws are no match for Best Girl Strength. She clutched up for me, but can her sister do the same? There it is. One Pokemon remaining, in a poetic battle of accuracy against none other than Meteor Mash Jirachi. One critical hit from Jirachi, and it's game over. We are the champions. Despite countless struggles and misplays, Best Girl brings us home. The lone survivor in our new reality. Thanks for watching our first and possibly only Soul Link. Deve is a wee bit traumatized from this one. I have done and will be doing more challenges in Pokemon, so please consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video. I'd love to reach 1,000 subscribers before 2024 ends. This particular journey actually doesn't stop here. We continue a bit longer in Emerald. My experience with that fiasco is coming soon. Thanks for sticking around, and as always, I hope you have a lovely day.